Hey Mastermind, it's Kirby. I hope you are well. Just wanted to record this video regarding your dinner date client. Now, before we get into the questions that you see on the slide and into the context of this topic, I just want to talk to you first of all about why it's important to do this exercise. Now, what happens is that usually when people want to sell something, they go and speak to everybody. So they say, my product can be sold to anybody who wants to lose weight, or my product can be sold to anybody who wants to buy, this widget that I sell. But when you go to the market with that sort of language, you're not really speaking to any one individual, and therefore you're less likely to get someone to click on your offers. You're less likely to have someone buy the thing that you want to sell. So the whole intent of the dinner date client, first of all, is to appeal to that client. The second thing, and the reason that it's called the dinner date client and not client avatar or target client, is because if you're going to do business, if you're going to take on the risk of running a business and all the time and effort and sort of energy that you're going to put into this exercise, doesn't it make sense that you're going to work with someone that you actually like? Because I know I've spent plenty of time dealing with people that I didn't like to deal with. And I did it because I wasn't clear on who I wanted to work with. And so that's why I would really say, be clear on who you want to work with in your business. And the dinner date client concept is essentially, who do you want to sit across the table from and share a beer or a glass of wine with and a nice dinner? If they're not the kind of people that you could do that with, then why do business with them? Because it's going to be really difficult and you're going to feel like you're kicking and screaming the whole way. So that's sort of the first sort of precursor to this training. Now, to the questions. What I'd recommend you do is use the worksheet that I've attached to this training in the member area. If you have not got access to the member area and you're watching this video, then join the mastermind. Anyway, on to question one. So, essentially, the first one is, who is the person that you want to sell your product or service to? So, if you have more than one type of person that this product is suitable for, then you need to do this exercise for each person, right? So let me give you an example. If you are dealing with mums and you want to sell your product to mothers, if you're selling your product to a mother who is 24 years old with a newborn, and if you are also selling your product to a 55-year-old mum whose kids have left home and gone off to university or whatever, they are two very different people at two very different stages of life, and so their problems and the likely description or explanation of that same problem that they are experiencing that they want to resolve by purchasing or looking at your product or service is going to be extremely different. And that's why it's important to do this exercise for each one of those people, because if you try to do it in a really broad brush way, it's not going to hit the spot. So make sure that you zone in on who is the specific person that you want to help. Now, once you've done that, once you know that it's, the 24-year-old mother, for example, then the next question is, what is the problem that that person is experiencing? And secondly, why is that a problem for them? So let me give you an example. If I was speaking to, Michael, the marketing manager, who is 52 years old, he's been a marketing manager for 30 years, the problem is that he feels like he can't keep up with the changes to digital marketing when he's been trained as a traditional marketer, looking at traditional marketing mediums. Well, it becomes a problem for him because the real problem is not that he can't keep up. The real problem is that Mike has been drinking wine every Saturday and eating in nice restaurants and living the high life, driving a BMW. And so Mike hasn't put in enough money into his pension fund. And so therefore, if he gets made redundant because someone new who's just left university for half the price can do a better job than him in the digital marketing space, he doesn't have enough to live off and retire, but also he doesn't feel like he has the skills to get back into the workplace if he was to be made redundant or let go from his job. So his real problem is not that he feels like he can't keep up with digital marketing. His real problem, deep down, is that he feels like he's going to be stuck because he doesn't have enough cash for retirement. And so let's just suppose we equate this to the copy that you write or the words that you're going to write in your adverts or on your landing pages or your sales letters or your videos. Now we're talking to a different Mike. We're not talking to, hey, doesn't it suck when you feel like you're left behind because someone else knows digital marketing and you don't? That's really base level, very weak. Imagine this one instead. You know what? There's nothing worse than knowing that you have not prepared yourself for a rainy day in the way that you should have, and the times have changed, and you're now not sure if you have the skill set necessary to keep up with the new university graduates. What happens if you get let go? Have you thought about that? So now's the time to upskill. So you see the power behind that is much more than just saying, hey, Mike, come and buy our course or come and take our training. The power is, hey, Mike, you're gonna be broke. You're not gonna be able to get a job. You're really talking to the fear. And I know that sounds horrible to say that, but that's the conversation. That's the inner war that is going on in your client's mind. You have to answer the war that is going on in the client's mind. All right? If you can understand the battle that they are facing internally, and you can bring a voice to that is real, then you're going to be seen as the expert for them. Okay? So really dig into that question. What is the problem for them, and why is it a problem for them? All right, the next one is, what have they already tried, if anything, of course, to solve the problem that they have? And this is super important. Now, I'll tell you why. If they haven't tried anything, they're going to be way more open to suggestions because they don't know anything else. If they've already tried something, like if you're speaking to, a mum who is trying to lose 5 extra pounds or 5 extra kilos after having their child, and they're just feeling a bit average about themselves, and they've already tried doing, Weight Watchers or Jenny Craig or Slim Fast or whatever other product out there in the marketplace there is, and you go to them with something that they perceive is the same, then they're going to come up with objections about why it's not going to work. All right? So you have to know what they have already tried, if anything, to solve this problem. So this could be as simple as they've read a book. It could be as simple as they've read a blog. It could be they've watched a video. It could be that they've actually gone and done something about it, like physically or in terms of paying money already, or speaking to somebody. In the example of, fitness, it might be that this person has already joined a gym, and because they haven't had a trainer, they haven't been able to get the results, or they didn't commit to going enough, or they didn't understand nutrition. And so they've tried something to solve the problem, but it hasn't helped because they haven't had the right solutions with that trial and error. Okay? Now, the next thing leading on from that question is, what happened when they tried it? And this could be positive or negative in the client's mind, of course. So, coming back to the examples I've just raised there, if you've got looking at the mum who wants to lose the 5 extra kilos, and, let's just say that this mum has tried a meal replacement shake. Now, what happened when they tried that option? Well, it might be that they lost 3 kilos and they felt pretty good, but they just couldn't seem to shift that last couple, or they felt like their skin or their muscle tone wasn't quite where they wanted it to be. So whilst it's not inherently negative, it's not also the full positive outcome that they wanted. It could be also that what happened when they tried the shakes, they tasted disgusting, they got hungry all the time, they had cravings, they were snappy and angry with their husband and their kids because they were withdrawing from sugar and they weren't allowed to drink coffee in the morning. That is also the same. It could be the same thing, right? But you can see how if we were now going to go and present a new version of a meal replacement to this person, if they've had a great experience in the first instance, and they're going to be much more susceptible to taking it on board. On the flip of that, if they didn't like the experience, nothing you can do theoretically would be able to change their mind on that. So understanding what happened when they tried that option and how it worked for them or not worked for them is really, really important for the way that you message to these people or to your client and the way that you speak to them in your copy. Because if someone has, I'm just going to use the same example. If I was going to write copy for a mum who has already tried a meal replacement shake and I'm looking to sell this new version with, a new ancient berry that has just been found in the Peruvian jungle, and I'm going to say to this, this woman, you might have tried meal replacement shakes before and had the standard side effects of traditional, conventional meal replacement shakes, like mood swings and feeling like you were hungry still, and they tasted horrible. But imagine if there was a shake that tasted like berries and it left you feeling full and vibrant and full of energy without feeling that bloated feeling that you usually feel, and your sex drive improved and so on. Like you can see, I'm selling the same bloody product, but I'm making it sound appealing because I understand the symptoms that they've experienced before, and I'm selling against that as being like, that's the traditional route and this is the new route. And that's how we create differentiation when your product is not unique in your marketplace, which is the case in a lot of instances, So, next question. Hopefully you're getting some good answers, by the way, straight up. This is a really useful exercise. This is the first exercise I do with any client if I'm working one-on-one to write sales copy or to help them through with their offers. And that's exactly why you're doing it here in the mastermind first, because this is ultimately the first step in providing great advertising to your market and creating great offers that sell to your market as well. So next question is, how do they feel right now? Okay, so if the previous question was what happened, well, then the next question is, how does it make them feel? So, if they haven't tried anything, then obviously they're still going to be feeling the way they felt in the first place. They might be feeling lost, frustrated, confused, not sure of what their next step might be. If they've tried, the meal replacement shake in this example that I'm using for this video, then they might be feeling pissed off because they feel like they've wasted time and money because it was expensive to buy the meal replacement shakes. They might be feeling like they're never going to be able to lose that extra weight, so it's easier just to eat chips and drink wine. That's very real. So you need to understand the feelings that they have. Now, it's worth saying, by the way, if you have clients already in this space that you're selling into, ask them the questions. Like say, hey, what have you tried before? How did it make you feel when it worked? What happened? Did it work? Did it not? Why didn't it work? Like, get curious about this, because all of that information is absolute gold when it comes to marketing to your offer to the market. Marketing your offer to the market, that sounds like the same thing in reverse, but you know what I mean. Taking your product or service out there and getting it to the right people and having them know it's for them is ultimately the best rule of marketing. So if we can get you to do that by answering these questions in a more effective way, then we're going to be onto a winner. All right, so based on what they've tried, based on what happened when they tried it, and based on the way they feel about what they tried, what are the likely objections going to be for your offer? So again, let's just say I'm, offering a new meal replacement shake. The likely objections for this instance might be that, she might say, he or she, but in this case I'm talking about a mum. The likely objections might be, I've tried this before, or I don't want to waste money on this anymore, or it tasted rubbish, or I felt fatigued, or I felt angry, or I felt not full enough until, and then I started snacking on things. And what I want you to do is write out every single one of those likely objections, and I want you to write down next to that a rebuttal for every one of those objections. So if, in this instance, if it was, it's going to taste horrible, then I would write down, great berry, fresh new berry tasting from the Peruvian jungle that tastes amazing. In fact, we're so confident that you're going to love the taste. If you don't love it, we'll give you your money back. Plus, we'll give you your money back again because for wasting your time. Like, we'll give you a 200% money back guarantee. All right, so list all those likely objections down. After that, I want you to ask yourself this question. If you had to help them for free, right? If you said to the client, you know what, this is going to cost you $1,000 to try this new meal replacement shake. I know this is a bit extreme, of course, but it's for the example. So I'm going to charge you $1,000 for 30 days of meal replacement shakes, with the intent that it's going to give you the result that you want of, more tone in your muscle, etc., etc., etc. Now, if you said to the client, you don't have to pay me until you get the results, what would you do first to get them started? What would be the very, very first step that you would take someone through so that they would feel as though they got some sort of result? All right, so in this case, I might say, before you try these shakes, before you buy $1,000 worth of shakes, we're going to send you a 7-day trial. And we want you to try this for the next 7 days, and we want you to join our Facebook group where every day we're going to come on with all of the people who are going through this trial at the same time as you. And each day we're going to have a personal trainer come on and give you a 5-minute workout because we know you're a busy mum that you can do anywhere without any equipment. And we're going to take in, any questions that you have about the product or about your fitness regime. So that might be something that you do. Now, what that does is that provides the progress to the client without them having to spend any money with you. So you always have to be able to come up with something relating to your product or service that you can give them in advance to demonstrate that you can get the result for them. And the final question is, if you were going to give them a win, what could you give them so that they have some hope of solving this? So, if I was to say, you know what, regardless of whether you buy this shake or not, if you do want to lose those extra 5 kilos, but you just want to eat like you normally do, then how about you try this little workout that we've had put together from a personal trainer who works with mums just like you. It's completely free. Just give us your email address and we'll send it to you. Or you can watch this video and it's got the 5 exercises that you need, or whatever it might be, or visit this blog. And that would give them that win and give them hope of being able to solve their problem. Now, when you do that, when you give them that hope and you give them that short win, and they feel like they're making some form of progress, it positions you as the expert, because when everyone else is out in the market asking for money for products and services, and you say, you know what, I understand where you're at, I understand you better than anybody, and here's something that I want you to do right now to make progress, because I want you to feel like you can make progress, and I want you to feel like you can solve this problem that you have. Like, do you think that they're going to see you as the person who's going to solve their problem? They're going to be far more likely to trust you, far more likely to want to do business with you, and therefore that's going to position you well for the next part of our training, which is coming up with the offer that resonates with your audience. So go ahead and do this exercise now, use the worksheet provided, and I will see you in the next training.